Nick, Coach Paterno went through a couple of tough years in '03 and '04, a couple of losing seasons. People were saying he was too old, the game has passed him by. Looking back, how unfair was that criticism first? And the second question would be, do you envision yourself coaching when you're 83 years old?
Let me answer the second one first. That's pretty easy. I don't think so. I have a tremendous amount of respect for guys like Joe Paterno, Bobby Bowden, who have, done this for so long and been extremely consistent in the way they do it and the product that they're able to year after year after year. I think consistency in performance is the most difficult thing to sort of manufacture, in anything that you do. And other than those few years that you mentioned, and I always had a great admiration for Joe and didn't think he should be getting criticized like he did at that time. But you see part of the reason that he has functioned for so long and been so successful is they made the adjustments that they needed to make, whether it was how they recruited, the systems that they played on offense, defense, or whatever, and got back very quickly to being one of the dominant teams in the country. And these guys are a good football team now. They got a lot of good players, and they won 11 games last year, and they got a lot of good players back from that team. Beat LSU in a bowl game. So this is a very good team.
Coach, how has Trent Richardson stepped into the leadership role that's associated with being a starting running back?
Well, Trent's always been one of the guys that's on the leadership council around here. Really doesn't have anything to do with being a starter. I think he's that kind of person. He's got a lot of competitive character. He's really good, makes a lot of good choices and decisions about what he does. He sets a great example for other people. He's caring. He'll engage and inspires with his example. So he's always been a leader on our team, especially this year, regardless of whether he starts or not. So he's done extremely well.
Coach, I've heard it described, I remember asking some of the coaches last year at the national championship about their coaching style, and they said it was kind of like going through a lunch line, that you take a little bit from different coaches you come in contact with. I was wondering if growing up in the coaching profession, if you took anything from Coach Paterno, and if not him, who did you take something from?
Well, I think that the people that you have direct contact with, whether it was Don James, my coach, when I played in college, who was a very successful coach in his own career, my high school coach, Bill Belichick, the people that you work for, you have a better opportunity. George Perlis at Michigan State, guys that have been successful for a reason. But I think the one thing that you take from guys like Joe Paterno, Bobby Bowden, is not only are they good and have been good for a long time, they've also been great ambassadors for the game, and they've done what they do in a really classy way. They don't talk about other people, they don't run other programs down. They just sort of do it in a first-class way, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've tried to emulate from, Joe Paterno, Bobby Bowden, those kinds of guys, is because of how they've done what they do, the kind of people they are, the kind of character they have, and I think that's important for college football. I think it's an important part of the integrity of the game.
Wondering, after looking at tape, how you would grade out the secondary, their first outing?
Well, we had some good things and some bad things, and we had some guys that played pretty well, and we've got some guys that need to play better. We made too many mental errors in some cases, and we need to do a better job of consistent execution, and that's something that we're going to have to continue to work on, and that's an area that it would help if we can make a significant improvement, in this week. So I think it's, You know, last week we prepared for a lot of things that we didn't see, and we saw some things we didn't prepare for. So I think that inexperienced groups would probably be affected by that a little bit more. Hopefully, at least we have a body of work in the system, you know, this week that we can sort of prepare our players for, and pretty much know we're going to get some wrinkle somewhere along the line, but most of what they're going to practice and see is probably what they're going to see in a game.
That's kind of connected to that. What did you think about Penn State's quarterback, first game out, and how he fared?
Played really well. You know, you'd never know he was a freshman, that's for sure. He's got a very good arm. He's very accurate. He had a lot of poise. They didn't have any game management issues, fumbled snaps, delay of games. The guy hard counts like a veteran, draws the other team off sides. Didn't make really any bad decisions, stood in the pocket, took a couple licks and completed balls. Hard to believe that the guy's a freshman, watching him play in last week's game.
And another question, I know Trent had big game experience, so maybe that wasn't an issue with him, but to get him and guys who played in Darius' place, get him some game action and a starting role before a big game like this, does that help them be more prepared for when the stage is a little bit bigger?
Well, I think that anytime guys that haven't played get the opportunity to go out and play in a game-like situation, there's obviously things that are going to help them grow and mature, and that experience is going to be beneficial. But, you know, that's sort of a work in progress. You know, every game that you play, you're going to get a little bit better from that standpoint. And, you know, hopefully, you know, our guys that didn't have a lot of experience will benefit from the game experience they have, but I think that will continue to build as the season progresses.
Hey, Coach, it's a two-part question. First, you're able to get A.J. McCarron into the game pretty early and pretty often. Saturday, you know, different week, different opponent. Does it go back to kind of a more traditional Greg #1 backup kind of watches this week, or is there a possibility